I got him in at the House Beautiful, I think before he was really willing. Once he was inside, I introduced him to the young women who lived there, but he was too ashamed to take advantage of their company. He just wanted to be alone. Yet he always loved a good talk, and often stood out of sight and listened to others' conversations. He also loved to see ancient things and to think about them. After we left that house, he told me he loved the visit, in fact. He enjoyed the last house as well as the one at the gate and the interpreter's house. But even though he loved the ancient things found in these places, he couldn't find the courage to ask about them. When we left the House Beautiful, we walked down the hill into the Valley of Humiliation, and he entered the valley like one without a care, for he thought he might be happy at last. And I think there was a kind of understanding between that valley and him, for I never saw him in better spirits in all his pilgrimage than he was in that valley. Here he lay down and embraced the ground and kissed the flowers. It is good for a man that he should bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and be silent, since he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. Perhaps there is hope. Lamentations chapter 3 verses 27 to 29. He woke every morning by break of day and regularly walked to and fro in the valley. But when he reached the entrance of the valley of the shadow of death, I thought I might lose him. Not that I thought he would turn around to go back, for I knew he abhorred that idea. His problem was that he was ready to die of fear. He cried out, "Oh, the hobgoblins will get me! The hobgoblins will get me!" I couldn't snap him out of it. He made so much noise. If they happened to hear him, it was enough to encourage them to come and attack us. But one thing I noticed as we entered this valley was how quiet it was. I'd never seen it so quiet before or since. I suppose the Lord specially restrained those enemies and commanded them not to meddle until Mr. Fearing had passed through the valley. It would be too tedious to tell you all the details, so I'll just tell you about two more aspects of the journey with Mr. Fearing. The first is when he came to Vanity Fair. You should have seen him there. I thought he was going to fight with all the men in the fair, and that we'd end up getting knocked on the head. His temper was hot against their habitual sinful acts. Upon the enchanted ground, he was very alert and wakeful, but when he reached the river and realized there was no bridge, he again became dejected. Now, he said, I will be drowned forever and never see the comfort of the face I have come so many miles to behold. And at this time I noticed something very remarkable. At this particular time, the water of that river was lower than I'd ever seen it in all my life. So he finally crossed over without getting much more than his feet wet. When he was going up to the gate, I said goodbye to him and wished him a good reception above. He said, I shall. Then we parted ways, and I never saw him again. So it seems all went well for him in the end? Mr. Honest asked. Great Heart nodded. Absolutely. I never had doubts about him. He was a man of a worthy spirit, but most of the time he felt very low, and that made his life very arduous for himself and very troublesome to others. O Lord, the God of my salvation, I have cried out by day and in the night before you. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my cry, for my soul has had enough troubles, and my life has drawn near to Sheol. I am reckoned among those who go down to the pit. I have become like a man without strength, forsaken among the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, and they are cut off from your hand. You have put me in the lowest pit, in dark places, in the depths. Your wrath has rested upon me, and you have afflicted me with all your waves. Selah. Psalm 88, verses 1 to 7. He had positive attributes as well. He was more sensitive to sin than many, and he was so afraid of hurting others that he often didn't do things he thought might offend, even if they were lawful. It is good not to eat meat, or to drink wine, or to do anything by which your brother stumbles. Romans chapter 14, verse 21. Mr. Honest's brow furrowed. But why would such a good man be forced to live so much of his life in such a disheartening way? There are two possible reasons, Great Heart said. One is that the wise God desires it. Some people must make a lot of noise, and others must weep. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Romans chapter 12, verse 15. The other is best explained if we look at it like music. Think of Mr. Fearing as one who played a deep tone, while he and those like him sound notes that are more doleful than the notes of other music. Some say the bass notes are the foundation of music, and for my part, I don't like that statement because while it reflects a mindful sorrow, it does not address the weakness of mind some experience. The first string the musician usually touches is the bass, when he intends to pull all in tune. God also plays upon this string first, when he sets the soul in tune for himself. Only there was the imperfection of Mr. Fearing, in that he couldn't play any other music until later, when he neared the end. I've made this bold metaphorical statement to help mature the understanding of young readers, and because in the book of Revelation the saved are compared to a company of musicians who play upon their trumpets and harps and sing their songs before the throne. When he had taken the book, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each one holding a harp and golden bowls of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. Revelation chapter 5, verse 8.